What's up, B Squad? It is your boy JB, and I am here today, you guys, with a late review of a new show that came out a couple of months ago. But this is Paradise, you guys. So, Paradise premiered on Hulu, and now it is premiered on ABC. So, this is season 1 of Paradise, episode number 1. The episode is titled Wildcat is Down. Now, before we go ahead and get into it, if you guys are watching this video or any other video on the channel and you guys aren't subscribed yet, then I need you guys to do me a solid favor and stop taking me out on this date and having me pay for it at the end of it. You guys know the routine. You can do me that favor by liking the video, subscribing to the channel, turning on your post notifications, and also by sharing the video, you guys. And with that out of the way, without further ado, let us go ahead and discuss Paradise, shall we? All right, you guys, so before I dig into Paradise, normally y'all come to me and be like, JB, you gonna review such and such, you gonna review such and such. Like, nobody said anything to me about this show. Like, nobody. None of y'all. Not a one of y'all said anything to me about this show. And I'm pissed off at you guys because episode 1 was a really good, it was a really good episode. Also, I will say before I even go even deeper into the review, you guys, please, for the love of all that is good and holy, do not, and I repeat, do not put any spoilers in the comments, you guys, because if you put spoilers in there, guess what's going to happen? The block will be hot. I will block you guys. Just don't keep it real with you guys, because I don't want to know any spoilers. I don't want to know anything that's happened throughout the season. I want to be shocked. Now, what I also will say is for episode 1, I know I'm not caught up, obviously. Just watched episode 1 today. But going forward, I should be caught up relatively soon. Since it's only 8 episodes, I should be caught up. I'm going to binge it. And so what I'm going to do is every Monday night that it comes on ABC, once it goes off on ABC, I'll have the review already ready for you guys to premiere right after the episode goes off, and we can get into it as we get into it. But for right now, for this episode 1, please, no spoilers. Only thing we're talking about is episode 1 and episode 1 alone. Don't talk about episode 2, don't talk about episode 3, 4, 5, you get the drift, right? Because again, if you spoil it for me, I will block. Please, you guys, I can't stress this long enough, hard enough. Please, you guys, don't spoil this show for me. Like, I wanna enjoy this show. I wanna watch this show. You guys got to watch it back when it premiered, and I didn't. So let me have this, please and thank you. Now let's get into the episode, shall we? Okay, you guys. So this episode 1, we're just getting introduced to everybody. So the main character, Xavier, who is he? What is the guy's name that plays Xavier again? What is his name? Sterling K. Brown. So Xavier. So what I'll do, because this show kind of gives me the vibes that I'm gonna review it like I used to do How to Get Away with Murder. Because you guys remember How to Get Away with Murder? They used to stay in the present, go in the past. So I feel like that's what's gonna happen with this show when it comes to reviewing it. But this episode opens with Xavier. We see Xavier in bed. So he's in bed by himself, but his hand is over on the pillow next to him, and he's not, he can't really sleep. So I'm like, okay, something obviously happened to his wife because his wife is not there. Again, going forward, right now, this episode, I don't know what happened to his wife. I can assume what happened to his wife, but please don't tell me what happened to his wife, right? So then we see him as he gets up and he's getting ready, right? So I saw him when he put on an apple, eat first, right? Then he wrote something on like a drywall. So I was like, like a board, drywall board. So he wrote something for the kids. I was like, okay, so he's writing something for his kids, right? So after that, we see as he went out for a morning run. I would love to be able to get up. See, I'm not a morning person, so I know I can't get my ass up and go for a morning run because I'm just not a morning person. That's why I don't even eat breakfast, because I don't get up early enough to cook breakfast. But the good thing is I work from home, so I can cook throughout the course of the morning, right? So we see him as he's running, and I think he ran to the White House, and that's where he met Agent Pace, also known as Billy. And him and Billy, they had this banter where they talk shit to each other, right? And I loved it. So then, Xavier asked Billy, "How was last night?" And Billy was like, "Oh, it was a quiet night." But then he's telling him how somebody made some soup, and the soup gave him, the shits, right? So he got to go home. So he said he called Jane to come in to relieve him, so that way he can go see a man about a horse, right? And then after that, we see as Xavier got back home, and his kids were up. So his daughter made breakfast. She made eggs, but she made him egg whites because she told him he's getting a little bit chubby, right? And so then his son was reading a book, and Xavier asked him, like, "What are you reading?" And he said, "James and a Giant Peach." And Xavier just kind of zoned out a little bit. And I was like, interesting that he zoned out. And he kind of, the way he got defensive when the son said he was reading James and a Giant Peach, I was like, that's weird that you just got so upset about this book. But I was like, it's got to be more to the story than what I'm, more to it than what we're getting, right? So then we see Xavier. He finally made it to work, right? And so, Jane was like, "Yeah, I'm filling in for Billy." And he was like, "Yeah, Billy went home to take a shit." He was like, "You don't have to take on for him." She's like, "Yeah, I know, right?" So then he asked her, "Where are Brooks and Rainey?" So she said, "They're inside waiting for you." So he went inside, and there were two Secret Service guys there, basically giving him a debrief of what happened, right? So then we see Xavier went upstairs to go check on the president of the United States, right? And he opens the door, and we see the president laid out on the floor in a puddle of his own blood. And I was like, wow. So this is how we're starting to show out. An assassination. Interesting. Interesting, right? So then we see as he went through the residence, and so he's going through the room, and it's really interesting because with the room, it doesn't like it was forced entry, obviously, because he went through the room. He see that there are some two wine glasses sitting. He sees, I think it was his wedding ring. Then he went out on the patio. You see a trail of blood, and you also see a cigarette butt, right? So then he came back and went into the room, and then there's a safe that's open, and I'm assuming in one of those, you guys know how now they have those safe boxes where you can put your blickies in. I'm assuming that's what that was that he was looking at. So then he called Jane, and he told Jane to, have them shut the place down. Now, what I want to do right here is I want to pause here, and then I want to move forward. Okay, so before I get back to the present day, I want to go into because like I said, this is giving very much so How to Get Away with Murder vibes from me, where it takes place, you see some stuff in present day, but then you also get some flashback scenes, right? So we get the flashback scene, and the flashback scene is where Xavier was first introduced to the president, right? So I'm assuming with this is probably after the inauguration, right? Because at one point he was talking about the fact that he believes that the first lady voted for his opponent, right? But I'm getting ahead of myself. But we see as he's talking to the president, and he's asking the president, why did you go through a change? Like, and why did you choose me of all people, right? So the president is telling him, I got a whole lot of files, and I saw your file, I saw you, and I liked you, and you're also black. And I was like, wait a minute. Me and Xavier were both at the same time, like, because he's black? He's like, is that a problem? I was like, are you racist? Because if you're racist, then hell yeah, it's a problem. I just was about to say something politically. We are not going to get into real life politics, but if you guys heard what I just said, you guys think about current day, baby, if it's a Secret Service person that is black on that man's detail, hopefully they are all this color, right? But neither here nor there, right? But then we see later in the episode as, he and the president are talking, and the president is outside smoking cigarettes, right? And, Xavier's looking at him like, you shouldn't be smoking that. He was like, yeah, this will take me out before anything. I was like, you're right. That smoking will definitely take you out. If it don't take you out, it's gonna give you cancer that might eventually take you out, right? So the president is asking him about his family. You know, like, do you have kids? He said he has 2 kids. I forgot what the daughter's name is. It starts with the P. If you now, you guys can leave that in the comments. What the daughter's name starts with. Actually, I can go and take a look and see what the daughter's name starts. What the daughter's name is. But he said, yeah, he has 2 kids, right? And he asked Presley. He asked him if he and his wife want to have more kids, right? And he was like, they're set with 2 because his wife is a scientist, and I know he said that she had to go do some work in Atlanta, so they're pretty much set with the 2 kids that they currently have, right? And so this is where the president says that, my wife, I don't feel like my wife is the biggest fan of me right now because, I believe she voted for my opponent. And I think that's the first time in history that's happened, right? I don't know. Again, we have to get into real life politics. But then he said that, if his wife leaves him, she's gonna leave him and take the kid with her once this is all said and done, right? So then after that, we see as the president is giving this press conference out on the lawn, right? And once again, Xavier kind of zones out, and it's like when he zones out, it's like a high-pitched frequency that you hear, and then you see a man come from the crowd with the blicky and go pow. So Xavier jumps in front of the president and tackles him to the ground, right? And so you see the president has some blood on him, and Xavier's asking him, like, are you hit, Mr. President? Are you hit, Mr. President? And Mr. President was like, nah, I'm not hit. He said, it's you. So Xavier opened up his jacket, and there was the wound, right? It was gushing blood from right there. So then we see him in a hospital, and the president is there with him. He made a basketball reference, and Xavier's like, can you please stop making the basketball references, right? And, president told him, he was like, once I'm out of here, I'll be back to work. He was like, no, you don't come back to work. Like, you take some time off, take some paid time off, right? And then after we see him get back, we see as they're in the Oval Office, right? And there are a whole bunch of people in the Oval Office with them. And so they're telling Xavier, they have this black box, right? And it has a tablet in it. And they're telling him it has highly classified information in there. I'm pretty sure we're going to find out very soon what that highly classified information is. And again, I'm going to say this one more time. I feel like I got to keep saying this. You guys, no spoilers, please and thank you. If you've already watched it, I'm so happy that you guys watched it. And I'm glad that, because the show got renewed for a season 2, so I'm glad that everybody watched it. But again, I'm late to the show. I'm late to it. So please, for the love of all that is good and holy, do not spoil this shit for me. At least episode 1. Like I said, by the time I put up episodes to review, I think I'll be done caught up and binge the whole season. And then episode 2, if y'all want to leave spoilers, fine. Or you want to talk about it, cool. But as of right now, please do not do it. Now, let's pause here, you guys, and we're going to wrap up the episode. So, back to the present. Xavier called Billy to tell him to get back to the White House. Billy is like, nigga, I'm taking this shit. And he was like, it's urgent. He used a reference that the president used in the scene at the hospital about the basketball player, right? So then we see as Xavier went to go see Garcia, so that way they can look at the footage to see who all came in and who all came out and who was the last person with the president the night before, right? Well, we see quite a few people with him, right? We see someone by the name of Sinatra with him. We see Agent Robinson with him. We see Xavier with him. And then we see his dad come, right? But the last person to actually see him was Xavier from the camera footage, right? So Xavier remembered the conversation that was had on the patio. It looked like it was a little bit of a heated conversation. So then this is where we also saw Agent Robinson, And then, like I said, the last person to see him was Xavier. So then we see as Billy got back, and so Xavier told him, like, we need to call this in. And he showed him the empty safe, right? But he said, before we do that, like, I need you to go take a survey of the property. No cameras, no nothing. Mental pictures and report back, right? So we see as Billy is walking through the property, and then some other Secret Service are asking Billy, like, hey, is it really shut down? And Billy is telling them, like, hey, I really don't know, but once I know more, we'll all talk, right? So then we move back over to Mike and Xavier, right? So they're looking at the cameras. We see on the cameras that after Xavier left, Billy came in, right? Billy ate the food that he said he ate, right? But then we see later, Billy went to the living room, sat down on the couch, turned the damn TV on, went to sleep. So when he went to sleep, you can see a silhouette, and you can see somebody in the TV, but they paused the TV, right? And then they cut the cameras off. The cameras are off from 10:42 p.m. until 12:13 a.m. And then the cameras went back on at 12:14 when, and at that point, that's when Mike came in, right? So Xavier asked who was watching the cameras, because Mike is like, whoever was watching the cameras was probably, a young person and a rookie. So Xavier was like, well, who was it? And he said it was Jane. And I was like, interesting. Again, no spoilers. No spoilers, you guys. No spoilers. Please and thank you. So we see as Billy and Jane are talking to each other, right? Now, I could have swore I saw them. It kind of seemed like he put something in her hand. Now, you guys can tell me, well, no, please don't tell me. Nah, don't tell me. Don't tell me. Don't tell me. But something's up with Mike and Jane. So Xavier came in, told Jane to call this in. Wildcat is down, and this is a code red, right? So then we see everybody at the White House. I'm assuming that was the first lady that was outside that was pissed off that she couldn't get in the house. And then we see as, again, the person Sinatra. Now, you guys can't tell me who she is. Is she part of Secret Service, or is she, like, who is she? You guys can definitely leave that in the comments. I don't think that would be a spoiler, but you guys can leave that in the comments who she is. I don't have a problem with that. So then we also see Kane, his father, come in asking where's his son. And so Sinatra, she took him away. And then we see as Xavier was being questioned, and Agent Robinson, who was there the night before with the president, she came in wanting to know what the conversation was that Xavier and the president had the night before, right? And it's an interesting conversation because we see as the president, he was asking Xavier, like, you want a drink? Xavier was like, I'm good. He asked him some other stuff, and he was like, you didn't say, you're not calling me sir, so what's going on? So then we get to the point where the president asked Xavier, will you ever forgive me for what happened? And I was like, what happened? One more time. No spoilers, you guys. Please and thank you. But it was interesting, right? Because Xavier is talking about his kids' names, right? Because he explained how they came up with the name Presley, right? Because his wife is from, where the hell is Graceland at? Wherever the hell Graceland is at, that's his wife is from. Is it Memphis? It's Memphis, right? It's Memphis, Tennessee, right? Either way it go, his wife is from there, right? So that's how they came up with her name. With the son's name, they couldn't come up with the name for the son at one point, right? She found the book James and the Giant Peach, and I was like, oh, it's coming together. That's why he got so upset about that fucking book. So she found the book, she fell in love with the book, and I'm assuming that's what the son's name is, right? Y'all can clarify that too if you want to. I don't really. Yep, that's his name, James. Okay. So remember, like I just said, the president asked him, can you forgive me for what happened? Shit. He said to the president that, yeah, I'll forgive you when I'm able to sleep at night and when you are deceased. I was like, well, fuck. Tell them how you really feel. So this is interesting. I'm here for it, you guys. I'm glued in. I'm locked in. We gonna review it week after week. I'm gonna be here, and I'm glad that ABC did this. Decided to put it on network television. I'm glad that they did this. So it gives me again, like I know they got renewed for a season 2, so congratulations. So, because honestly, I was thinking about reviewing it, but I was like, ugh, it aired months ago. But the finale just aired about a month or so ago, right? So I was like, ugh, because I was like, I don't really want to wait to season 2. But then I was like, okay, this is a great opportunity for me to actually review the show since it is premiering on network cable television. So yeah, you guys, every week we will be here for the next 8 weeks. We will be here every Monday night well, it's Tuesday that I'm recording this, but every Monday night you guys will see a review after it airs on ABC. And honestly, what I will say is when it comes to the reviews, I will be caught up. Like I said, since it's 8 episodes, I definitely will be caught up before ABC airs all 8 episodes. But my reviews will be in line with the ABC airing, so you guys will get it every Monday night after the episode airs. So going forward with the comment section, even though I will be caught up, let's just keep it strictly towards the episode that we're talking about that particular week. But you guys, that's it. Be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on your post notifications, share the video, and until the next time, you guys, stay safe, take care of yourselves, wash your hands, be blessed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.